Welcome everyone to another edition of From the Bleachers Sports Show. Me, your buddy old pal here, Tom, and we're gonna try to do an re-upload on this video. The other video did not work out, but we're talking about the wrestling releases, from this past Wednesday. Releases were about, I think, as of right now, Saturday, about 47 people, 48. And this is talent, wrestling talent. It's also producers, referees. It's a combination of everything, writers. The majority were released, and then, majority of the producers were furloughed. So, and who honestly could have expected this? This is a lot. The layoffs, usually around after WrestleMania, you have the layoffs, you have the people being released. 05, 06, 08. Those, 05 and 08 were a lot, I remember, that were laid off. Really not too many, if even anything, in the recent years. And, boom, everything on Wednesday happened. Just like that. And people are saying, that it's, Vince McMahon, they're blaming Vince McMahon for what has happened. No one in their wildest dreams could have expected to be in the situation that we're in right now. So it really has nothing to do with Vince McMahon. Okay, if you look at the current climate that we're in, there's no baseball, there's no hockey, there's no basketball, there's no MMA. Everything stopped. The league is not even working. You have AEW, WWE, about the only two wrestling organizations up and running. And that's, even right now, they're running with no crowds. And they're taping way in advance. A couple shows at a time. So you wonder even how long will that continue, where they can continue to tape. So you have no live audience. You have no people going to your pay-per-views. You don't have no audience in Raw. You have no audience in SmackDown. The WWE Network and the Fox deal and T-shirts online only goes so far. If you're not running shows in these states, you're not running shows overseas, you have no need, unfortunately, for all these wrestlers on your roster. If you don't have the need for the wrestlers on the roster, at that point you have no need for the producers. They're not putting together matches. It was such an exuberant, such a high number of talent that was released. I think that when this does happen, rather when the dust does settle, I think a majority of them, the wrestlers and the producers, not all at once, but slowly, they will be called back. Some of them, if they, if that's, And it's obviously their choice if they will want to come back or not. You know, if you look at it, it's actually good that they were fired, I guess, or released. You know, like the Revival, for example, they had come to terms on their release. So they had negotiated something where they're free to sign anywhere right now. So the only problem is who's really hiring at this point. You know, guys like Heath Slater, that was released. A lot of these guys, they have a 90-day no compete until July, which, you know, bright side, good thing for them, as they're able to, they're still collecting an income. At that point, by July, you hope things are better, where they would be able to sign with an organization, maybe if not the WWE, then another organization. You know, it's tough. What is Vince McMahon supposed to do when he has to answer to his investors? Hey, Vince, we're losing such and such money each month. Why are you keeping on wrestlers? Let's reduce the overhead. Unfortunately, that's what has happened. What is Vince going to say? You know, I love him. I don't want to let him go. That's not going to fly with the investors. I'm sure Vince does not like firing people as much as the internet and the dirt sheets will try to spit in otherwise. Because if Vince is firing people, that means that he is, you guessed it, not making money. So I think, you know, eventually when this does pass, and it will pass, there's a good possibility you see a lot of these wrestlers back in the WWE. Right now, I just really want to go over some of the wrestlers that were released and my thoughts on their time in the WWE. Not going to go over every single one of them. I want to just go over quickly some of them. I think, to me, one of the biggest ones that stood out and was shocked in their release is Rusev. Took a while, but Rusev, they always say that you need something, type of a word or a phrase, a catchphrase, something that will rope the audience in. That way they go back and forth with you. Stone Cold had a catchphrase. Chris Jericho has millions of catchphrases, something like that. And Rusev, you know, at first he was getting a reaction, which is good. It's better than getting no reaction whatsoever with Lana. And then he really turned it up. We came out with Rusev Day. Now, I don't know if he came up with Rusev Day himself or if it was Aiden English who came up with it, but it clicked. Every day was Rusev Day. Started selling Rusev Day shirts, Rusev Day hats, and it really just seemed like no matter how much the audience got behind Rusev, WWE was only willing to go so far with Rusev before, and then after a while, they just kind of pulled back. So Rusev got himself over. Crowd cared about Rusev. Rusev Day. And for whatever reason, WWE did not want to do anything with it. Rusev Day shirts were selling. There was rumors, speculation that he wanted out of his contract. You didn't see him on TV for a while. Lana re-upped it. I think it was like a 5-year deal, but not Rusev. So, Lana re-upped it. You see her back on TV now with Lashley. And then Rusev is reintroduced. Lana's saying that, Rusev is a bad guy in storyline wise. Bad human being. Divorces Rusev. Wants nothing to do with him. Rusev and Bobby Lashley in a feud, and, well, Rusev, for the most part, is made to look like the fool. That's the last that you've seen of Rusev. Upon news of his release, Rusev simply wrote on Instagram or Twitter, Rusev out. And to be honest with you, I would probably feel the same way. He pretty much did all that he could. Got himself a catchphrase. Got himself in better shape than he was. Improved his look, I think. Worked as a heel, worked as a face. Could pull it off both ways. And WWE, for whatever reason, just said, nah, no thank you. Guy like Rusev, he could be a mega star in AEW. If and when AEW decides to hire, because it is a rough time everywhere. Aiden English, assuming, let's say, that Rusev Day was created by Rusev. Let's just go with that. Aiden English had a part in Rusev Day. That delivery of Rusev Day, that's the first thing you heard at the infancy of Rusev Day. The delivery was part of it. Aiden English was part of it. It seems to me that Aiden English has an idea of what he needs to do to elicit some type of emotion, which he did. In Rusev's corner, he was able to elicit an emotion, a reaction. When he turned his back on Rusev, he was able to elicit an emotion, a reaction, when they were fighting. So it seems like, by the way, that whatever Rusev was doing to get over, they simply started taking away from him. Aiden English being one of them. Now, Aiden English, even before his singles run in tag team, the singing was effective. Now, you might have a singer in Elias right now on the roster, but Elias plays guitar and, well, Aiden English sings opera style, 2 different characters. After his feud with Rusev, he kind of disappeared into commentary. Many people don't even know that he was still with the company. Commentary on 205 Live. Why? We never really got a response or any notification why he was not wrestling. He's not a bad wrestler. He didn't seem to injure anyone. Had a clue, decent on the microphone. Never understood that. What happened to Aiden English? And now Aiden English is on his way. I enjoyed Aiden English. Leo Rush. Leo Rush, good wrestler on the Indies. As the hype man for Bobby Lashley, annoying. Super annoying. And well, that's exactly, he was doing his job. The fans actually started caring that Bobby Lashley was in the ring. They were booing him. He was finally getting some type of reaction, some type of emotion, some type of response. Something that Bobby Lashley, on his own, by himself, was not able to do. And Leo Rush, well, he was still soon taken off the Raw roster away from Bobby Lashley because there was talk about his attitude. He documented his troubles on social media, what he was going through. And I think he was a guy that was misunderstood. He seemed to have turned everything around, became the Cruiserweight champion. And, going from all the way on the bottom of the roster, he was making his way to the top. And I would have liked to have that story completed. Leo Rush, is a guy that could definitely tear it up. And I think his attitude has changed. I wouldn't be surprised if I see him back in the WWE ring. Drake Maverick, if you've seen his video on Instagram, feel for the guy. You want to give the guy a hug, honestly. Drake Maverick did whatever was asked of him in being the manager for AOP. wearing that vest, that war vest or combat vest, quite funny. Didn't fit his part, but he gave it a try. He was the GM for 205 Live. He was also in constant chasing of R-Truth to win the 24/7 championship. That meant a lot to him because he wanted to consummate his marriage, and the only way to do it, if you remember the storyline, was to become the 24/7 championship. And after his release from the WWE, he said that WWE is allowing him still to continue for the Cruiserweight championship in that tournament, which in storyline, Drake Maverick said that he's relinquishing his role as GM, that way he can compete in the Cruiserweight for the Cruiserweight championship in that division. I don't know how this is going to unfold. Seems very awkward. Knowing that a guy has been released. I don't know if these matches were taped in advance. Seems very awkward to me. And you feel for the guy. It seems like WWE is really where he wanted to be. He did well in the comedy role with R-Truth. I don't know if Drake is not in WWE, I don't know really where else he would be. AEW, even compared to guys like Jungle Jack Perry, he looks small. NWA, it's all brute. I mean, for the most part, even their cruiserweights, I just don't think he matches up well with AEW, NWA, even WWE. It's a stretch in wrestling. I'm sure to make it work somehow. Just awkward. I think this is a guy that WWE is probably looking at and says, you know what? Let's just hire him back. He's valuable. He's a team player. This is probably one that they wish that they had not let go. But if you make an exception, you hire him back now, then it's like you have to hire everyone back, right? EC3 seems like they really just missed the boat on EC3. I don't know what happened. Was in WWE developmental, let go, went to Impact, built up a character, built up a name for himself. Then went to NXT. Underwhelming run in NXT, could have been better. But was called up to the main roster, and you had hopes. You had hopes that the character that EC3 developed in Impact, which earned him championship reigns there, somehow develop, somehow show itself on Raw. And well, it never really did. It really never developed. Never really had a chance, be honest. I believe he had one feud with Dean Ambrose. What, for 2 or 3 weeks? And that was pretty much it. Pretty much it for EC3. Guy had the look. You heard him on Impact. You know that he could talk. Just sitting there doing nothing. WWE really had no idea what to do with him. You know, I said it. You know, I envision this guy as being like a rich guy from Nantucket, pairing him up with Bo Dallas, pairing him up with, I don't know, one of these other guys, and have him be just like on a boat and be like a douche. Something to do with these guys that were not doing anything. Throw Bo Dallas in there, throw Curtis Axel in there, throw an EC3, Mojo Rawley, and something like that to that effect. It would have worked. Just like, you know, as soon as he got up here, they're like, we really don't know what to do with him. We have nothing for him as soon as he got up there. I think EC3 was really not done any, he wasn't given any, they didn't do right by EC3. And I think if he goes to AEW, for example, he would tear it up. And then once again, WWE would look at him and say, you know what, we really missed the ball on him again. Let's try it again. And, that's just one that I really just do not understand how you miss the boat with. Sarah Logan, if you told me between the Riot Squad that that the one that would be the most successful, or at least that's what it seems like to me right now, would be let's be honest, of the three, Sarah Logan was the one that was not successful. Ruby Riott, when she came back, indifference, but that's weird because before then, maybe the fans forgot who she was. She was getting some type of reaction, Ruby Riott. But Sarah Logan, just really no reaction whatsoever, honestly. I don't think people knew really what Sarah Logan was. Was she a Viking? What was her story? Was she just a wild barbarian woman who was hunting for her prey? What is her story? And it just never clicked. It never clicked. Same thing for Zack Ryder here. Zack Ryder, He was a guy that a couple of years ago was doing nothing, took initiative, got people to talk about him on the internet, which transcribed to people calling for him on shows, live events, Raws, SmackDowns, and then the WWE gave them what the fans wanted. They put Zack Ryder on the TV screen, and then Zack Ryder came on the TV screen, portraying an Long Island kid, spiky hair. His moveset really nothing spectacular. Okay on the mic, nothing nothing that stands out. Listen, if you looked at a generic creative player with spiky hair, that's what Zack Ryder is to me. I think the Jersey Shore Long Island thing has kind of worn its course. He really is not flashy, nothing that sticks out. So what makes Zack Ryder? Why are fans caring for Zack Ryder now? Zack Ryder, every once in a while, for his work, he was rewarded. He gave him a tag team title, intercontinental title, but his reigns were not memorable, and they were nothing to write home about. Again, what makes Zack Ryder stick out, stand out to you? That's the major question. Eric Young, a versatile comedy, serious wrestler. That was an Impact, was part of Sanity, which was huge in NXT. And then Sanity over here just kind of floundered. Another example of what sometimes works in NXT does not work in WWE. And as soon as they broke up that group, well, there was Eric Young all by himself, and they never really utilized him at all. A couple of matches on Raw, a couple of matches on SmackDown, but was not involved in anything spectacular. Again, still older, but not completely old, and he would be never really utilized the right way. He would really be utilized perfectly, I think, if he went back to Impact. Just some of my thoughts here on the releases from the WWE. You also have Mike Kanellis, Maria Kanellis. Listen, the Kingdom in ROH was a thing. Maria was able to get herself over here numerous times before. They were given TV time in a storyline, whether they liked it, whether they didn't. They were given TV time. And then they wanted their release. Mike Kanellis did at least. So, what can you really do? Either you want to be there, you don't. And now he was released. So, I hope all is well and look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon.